Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So for today, we're going to discuss about, of course, the background of the study or background of the problem. So the background of the study is the first section of the paper and establishes the context underlying the research. No, it contains the rationale, the key problem statement, and a brief overview of our research questions that are addressed in the rest chapter. So the background forms the crux of the study because it introduces an unaware audience to the research and it's important actually i-accept ko lang. Okay, an importance in a clear and logical manner. So most commonly, in the background of the study, as I mentioned earlier, we need to address the rationale, the key problem statement, and a brief overview of research question. No? So at times, the background may even explore whether the study builds on refutes findings from previous study. So any relevant information that the readers need to know before delving into the paper should be made available to them in the background. Because it is also advised everybody, that in putting your advice in crafting your background to the study, please lang do not include a review of literature. So a background to study must be coming from your statement, from you, because you have an idea on what you are going to do in your proposal. Okay, so the introduction of your research paper is presented before the background, and of course, to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead, ma'am.
Good day, everyone. I'm Helen Tobera. I'm about to discuss the background of the study. The preliminary requirements for completing the thesis research is the formulation of the background of the study. Since the background of the study is the section of the research paper or the thesis that identifies the problem or the gap of the study that needs to be addressed and justify the needs for conducting the study. Background information identifies and describes the history and nature of well-defined research problem with reference to the existing literature. It should indicate the root of the problems being studied and yung mga kasama na rin yung mga previous studies, paano tayo nag-come up to these studies. Background information does not replace the literature review section of the research paper. It is intended to place the research problem in a proper context. The background of study makes the background makes the study results more reliable and effective. And the written background of the study prompts the reader to read the rest of the thesis research and provide the study with the context. So para din kailangan din ang background of study natin is maganda din yung pagkakasulat na ma-encourage yung mga reader na ituloy pang basahin yung ating thesis. So bakit kailangan may background of study? The main purpose of this is to make the reader aware of the context of the thesis. It complies the research problem, information of the topics, and the proposed argument of the research problem. It also justifies the needs of the thesis. This figure in the screen summarize the purpose of the thesis, background of the study. Since the introduction is also part of the chapter 1 in the thesis, let us differentiate the introduction and the background of study. Baka kasi mamaya ay malito kung anong mauna. Since the introduction came first before the background, introduction muna, then background of the study. Ang difference nila is first, the introduction only contains the preliminary data about the research topic and does not state the purpose of the study. On the contrary naman, yung sa background of the study clarifies the importance of the study in details. Next is the introduction provides an overview of the research topic from a broader perspective, while sa background of study provides the detailed understanding of the topic. And last, the introduction should end with a mention of the research question, aims, and objectives of the study, while the backgrounds follow no such format and only provides essential context to the study. Yun. So, mauna yung introduction, next yung background. So, kailangan din talaga natin ma-differentiate sila para hindi nauulit sa background of study yung nilagay din natin sa introduction. Background information provides the reader with the essential context needed to understand the research problem. Depending on the problem being studied, forms of contextualization may include one or more of the following. Ito nga yung cultural, economical, historical, interdisciplinary, gender, and philosophical, physical or spatial, political, social, and temporal. Sa cultural, of course, kailangan alam natin kung saan siya papasok. May mga research kasi na nakakaapekto yung culture, place within the learning behavior of specific group of people. Next sa economic naman, it is relating to the system of the production and the management of material, wealth, or business activities. So kung ang pinag-aaralan is related sa economics, so papasok siya doon. Pwedeng ang focus is dun sa economical, maka-affect siya. Then sa historical naman, the time in which sometimes takes place or was created and how the influences how you interpret it. So, of course, sa background, kailangan din natin tingnan yung history ng pinag-aaralan. Then, interdisciplinary, explanation of theories, idea, concept, or methodologies borrowed from other disciplines applies to the research problem rooted in another discipline. Sa gender naman, that is located within the behavioral, cultural, or psychological traits typically associated being a male or female. Of course, may effect kung ang ang focus ng studies natin ay kung makaka-affect sa gender, kung para lang ba sa male yung pag-aaralan natin. When it comes to philosophical, clarification of the essential nature of being phenomena as related to the research problem. Then sa physical naman, reflects the space around something and how that influence and how you see it. So, yun. From the political concerns the environment in which something is produced, indicating it is public purpose or agenda. So, yun, check din natin kung papasok yung political aspect. And sa social, the environment of the people that surround something, creation, or intended audience, reflecting how the people around something use and interpret it. And lastly, the temporal reflects issues or events relating to or limited time. Kung may mga studies kasi na parang seasonal, kumbaga kailangan natin ng mabilisang time para mapag-aralan, or meron namang mga studies na kailangan natin ng mahaba-habang time frame. Next is how to structure the background of study in thesis research. So this structure of the background studies, ito yung guide ng pagkakasunod-sunod how you will write the background of studies. First is the overview of the data of the study. The section should start with an overview of studies. Sample, what are the main area of focus? Papasok dyan. For example, if the thesis research deals with the problem of customer satisfaction with a brand, then start with the importance of customer satisfaction today, followed by the relevance of the brand in question. Cite the source and introduce some key statistics pertaining to the main problem. For example, the thesis of the attrition problem in the information technology industry talk about the percentage of the people who quit top 5 IT services company last year and the overall attributes rates in the country. These parts needs the most number of reference. So cite every figures and statistics. So kailangan natin to mag-gather meron din tayong ma-cite natin. Then the gaps. The gaps that needs to be addressed. Explain what is lacking in the existing research. And uh, may mga may mga studies na naman na na-publish kung ano yung kulang pa dun sa studies na yun, sa thesis na yun, bakit kailangan natin ito i-address pa. Next is the significance of addressing the gap. So, kailangan din natin ma-cite, establish the importance of thesis research. Kailangan natin ma-cite din kung bakit pa natin kailangan pag-aralan ulit yung ganito na hindi na-cite dun sa previous studies. So, kung gawa ka, dito naman sa significance addressing the gap, siyempre kailangan papasok yung mga tanong na who, what, when, where, why, and how. Para ma-depends natin kung bakit natin kailangan yung thesis na yun. For the methodological approach for addressing the gap, it explains the goal of studies to be achieved, what methodology is employed. Keep this section brief because this chapter for explaining this in details. Meron naman kasi 'di ba i-detail dito sa methodological kasi may part ng thesis na for methodological details. So kailangan mo lang magbigay ng overview dun sa methodological since background naman siya papasok. Here are some to consider while writing your background of studies. Are there any concepts, ideas, terms, and theories which the target audience may be unfamiliar with and additional explanation about them is required? So, kailangan mo yung mga tanong na to. Kung ang sagot mo dito ay yes, kailangan ma-cite mo siya sa background of studies. Next is, and another one question is there any historical data which provides context to the emergence of the current issues that need to be shared? And lastly, are there any other concepts that are from other disciplines and thus needs some further explanation? So kung ang mga sagot mo dito ay yes, of course, kailangan ma-cite mo siya dun pa lang sa background. Hindi naman kasi lahat ng audience mo maiintindihan yung ganitong term. So kailangan sa background ma-cite mo siya kung may kung may mga mahihirap na term, kailangan ma-introduce mo agad siya dun sa background. Avoid the common mistakes in writing the background. While writing, first is don't write a background that is too long or too short. Focus on including all the important details but write concisely. Don't be ambiguous. Write in a way that does not convey the message to the readers defeat the purpose of the background. So express yourself, keeping in mind that the reader does not know your research entirely. Next is don't discuss unrelated themes. Try and center your discussion around the pivotal aspect of your research topic. Highlights the gap in the literature states and novelty of the study that's need to conduct the study. So yun nga, yung gap kailangan mong ma-cite kung bakit kailangan pang ng further study. And don't be disorganized. Kailangan din ang background mo is naka-chronological order kung ito ang dapat mauna, ito ang uunahin. Hindi yung nandito ka na sa
You're done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, as our presenter mentioned, no, there is a difference between the introduction and the background of the study. Our presenter also discussed on how should one write the background of the study, no? So the length and detail presented in the background varies, no, for different research papers, no, depending on the complexity and novelty of the research topic. So at times, a simple background suffices, no, even if the study is complex. So it depends, no. Wag namang sobrang haba, wag din naman na sobrang ikli ang inyong background of the study. Most commonly, no, before writing and adding details in the background, take a note of some additional points. Number one, always start with a strong beginning, no? Begin the background by defining the research topic and then identify the target audience. Number two, cover key components. So explain all theories, sabi nga nung ating presenter kanina, concepts, terms and ideas that may feel unfamiliar to the target audience thoroughly. Take note, no, of importance prerequisites. So go through the relevant literature, sabi niya, in detail, and take notes while reading and cite the sources. Okay, so because sometimes all panels, no, hindi lang ilan all panels, no, always looking forward the way on how you'll be able to present your sources, no. Then maintain a balance. Make sure that the background is focused on important details only but also appeal to a broader audience, no. So kung kailangan ng historical data, ano, kung kailangan na mag-explain novelty, and you need to increase the engagement of your audience, no, to make the background engaging, build a story around the central theme of the research, no. So avoid this mistake while writing the background. Number one, ambiguity, no, don't be ambiguous, no. While writing, assume that the reader does not understand no, any intricate detail about your topic, no. Unrelated themes, no, steer clear from topics that are not related to the key aspect of your research paper, no. For organization, sabi nga ni Miss Presenter kanina, no, as much as possible, chronological ang gagamitin natin. Ano? So, I think that's it. Thank you, madam. Ayun, may nagtaas ng kamay, nakita ko. Sige, naku, natanggal na. Sige. Sino next presenter natin? Si Ma'am Elmi.
Nakikita po ba yung screen?
Pero nasa slide number 40 na ba to? 18. Ayan, sige. Okay, so introduce ko lang muna ma'am topic mo.
Okay po.